Well, here we are again at the Andrew Cannon's lovely place at the Australian Yacht Club squadron with this Maserati racer here. I'll let Andrew tell us about some of the more technical details and you know, what races you've done in Australia and overseas, and what's your future role in perhaps racing this in the future.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Peter. No, it's a purpose-built race car built in the 1950s. It's a 150S chassis with a 250S engine in it. It's a twin overhead cam 4-cylinder car, but they're a beautifully balanced, lightweight car with very nice drum brakes all around, but the drum brakes actually work really well. And on a track like Laguna Seca, when you're racing maybe a 300S, which is the 6-cylinder equivalent, it holds its own, and actually, in actual fact, you can probably knock off most 300Ss at Laguna Seca because it's a tight, windy sort of track. It's like a mini Bathurst in actual fact. But on the bigger, maybe the Nürburgring or some of the wider, faster tracks, the 6-cylinder would have more grunt and beat this car. But it's a beautifully balanced car. I recently drove it back from Sydney and over the Alps. It's just incredible, and you wouldn't believe it was built in 1950. And I think Maserati made his cars for the drivers. They're just great driving cars.
So tell me, in Australia, how long's it been out in Australia, the current?
Well, due to the import duty, I brought it out on a Carnet, and it's here for a year. It's done the historic demonstration at the Australian Grand Prix, which is held every year, and it's done Phillip Island, the great historic event, one of the best events in the Southern Hemisphere, if not the best. So it's raced at a few things and done a few events. It did the Motor Classica as well.
Yes, I saw that.
And I've just tried to use it over the 12 months that I've had it here as much as I can. And as I said, the trip back from Sydney was incredible. I've driven it up to Mount Buller. And
during the ski season?
No, at the end, but it did snow when we got there, which was pretty amazing. But and I've tried to share the car because I mean I'm privileged to be a custodian of it. And as I said, Pete, before, it was the last race car that Sir Jack Brabham drove in, which was fantastic too.
And you obviously have a good relationship with Sir Jack and his family.
Oh, a lot of respect for the Brabham family across the board.
Well, we're very privileged, as we may be aware, that this car will be on display at the Italian Auto Icons event on Sunday, the 1st of March 2015. Andrew will be there. He doesn't quite sure whether he'll be in his racing gear or not, but tell me, given it's the fact that it's the 100-year anniversary of Maserati, you mentioned before you've got some recognition of Stirling Moss and Sir Jack.
Oh yeah.
You're able to perhaps not show us where they are, but whereabouts in the vehicle are their signatures?
Sure. Well, underneath the bonnet I've got Sir Jack Brabham's signature, which was he signed at Laguna Seca about 7 years ago, and about 5 years ago Sir Stirling Moss, the two knights, actually, when you think about it, signed just under the boot lid. So two of the great drivers of all time. Very privileged to have both of them, and they're both, well, Sir Jack's passed away now, but Sir Stirling Moss has been a fantastic inspiration to many people.
And he actually drove in the Formula Ones out at Albert Park?
He did, and he's raced 300Ss and 250S Maseratis, and he's raced so many cars, but I think one of his definitive cars, probably apart from the Mercedes that he raced at Mille Miglia, was his Maserati.
And you're saying before you're in the process of learning Italian, so when you go to some Alfa Romeo event or next year, tell us about that.
Well, I'm looking forward to racing an Alfa Romeo GT-AM, and the original driver was Carlo Floscetti, and he doesn't speak a word of English, so I went over there to test drive the car, and we had a bit of trouble communicating, so I've decided to have Italian lessons, which is good fun because you can go down to Lygon Street and have a meal at the same time.
Well, we'll make sure you come down to Tiamo as one of the sponsors, and we'll make sure you can learn your Italian as well.
I look forward to it.
Andrew, once again, thanks for your time. It's a lovely car, and to Maseratis, congratulations on 100 years. It's 100 years to the 14th of December, which is not far away.
That's fantastic. I think that's next Sunday.
It is. Thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you.